This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself.
Today we have a really easy one. This is the Viking range with 6 burners, and this oven is not heating properly. Sometimes it also has a slight explosion because the gas billows up and ignites too late and it blows open the door. So we need to replace the 2 oven bake igniters on this unit, which is really easy to do. You basically just need a Phillips head screwdriver and a couple of igniters. So we're going to spin out this Phillips head screw here that is at the top of this lower panel on the right and then over here on the left. And the lower panel will then hinge toward us, and that's going to allow us to have access to the igniters and to the wires. It just comes right off. And then we have these wires. We're just going to gently remove them from this frame, and that's so we can have good access to them. And these igniters have been replaced since they were they're not the original ones put in at the factory. These are some aftermarket ones. We're going to be putting in some aftermarket ones too. These are only about $16 a piece, so somewhere around $34 you'll be able to totally redo your oven. So we're going to take out these 2 Phillips head screws that are holding a bracket that's holding the burner tube or venturi in place. So we're going to remove those 2 screws. And the bracket comes right off of a pin that's on the venturi tube. And then you can just grab the burner tube here and you can move it off of the gas jet over here to the right by pulling to your left, and then you can pull the whole venturi tube right out of the firewall. The end of it is kind of has a flat ridge that fits into a slot that's deep inside the oven. So we got the whole thing out. We're going to use a Phillips head screwdriver to just spin off these 2 screws that are holding on the igniter. The new igniter we're going to use is a little shorter. The ceramic part is a little shorter, but it works just as well. Here's the part number. You can get these at Amazon if you'd like. They're only about $15, $15.15. And these work for almost any gas oven. These are really good igniters made by Electrolux. So we're going to use our Phillips head screws to put the new igniter on the burner tube. And then we're just going to remove the old igniter wire that was hooked to one of the wires coming from the oven. And we're going to take the new igniter wire and put it on that same wire. So it's really kind of simple. So we're going to take either one of those igniter wires, doesn't matter which one. We're going to undo this connection. This is the wire coming from the oven. We're going to put our new igniter wire in position, and we're going to use this little ceramic nut that's heat proof, and we're going to spin it to the right, righty-tighty, as tight as it'll go, so we have a really good electrical connection. And we'll grab the other wire that came off the old igniter. We're going to spin off the old
Hey, good. How you doing?
cap that's on there.
Judy gave me a
And
good
we'll hook it
explanation.
to the other igniter wire from the new igniter, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use a ceramic wire nut to get on there really tight. So if this is the first time the igniter's ever been changed, there won't be these little wire nuts that are already there. You have to splice it. So I'm going to push the whole venturi tube back into the oven. And there's a slot back there that I have to fit the tube into. So take your time. This might take a few minutes to kind of feel it and get it into that slot. Then I push the burner tube back into the brass gas jet here to the right. And put the bracket back over the pin, and then I'll put those 2 Phillips head screws in to hold it. If you have trouble getting that end of the burner tube to go into the slot, you can remove from inside the oven, you can remove the lower panel pretty easily, and then you can see better what you're doing. This is just kind of a quicker way to do it, where you don't have to remove any of the panels from inside the inside the oven. You just use this, remove this one front panel. So now we're spinning off the screws on the other burner tube. Took off the bracket, and now we're going to push it to our left a little bit to get it off the gas jet, and we're going to wiggle it out of the firewall. There's that flat section on the end of the tube. It has to fit into the slot. We'll use a Phillips head screwdriver to spin off these two Phillips head screws that hold on the igniter. We're just doing the exact same procedure. Some of the Viking and Wolf ranges have these double burners. You always want to replace them. If you replace one, you always want to replace the other too. So here's our new igniter. We spin off the old wire nut, pull the old igniter wire off, and then we're going to use the wire here coming out of the oven to hook up to the new igniter wire. Either of the new igniter wires, doesn't matter. No polarity issue. Then we're going to put on the wire nut and get it on there nice and tight. There we go. Then we find the other wire coming from the oven. We undo the connection from the old igniter wire. Take our new igniter wire, hook it into place, and then we'll spin on the new wire nut, get it nice and tight. So you could do this whole procedure in probably 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, now we're going to put the new igniter in position and then spin on the two Phillips head screws. There we go. We're going to feed it back into the firewall, and we have to line up the end of this burner tube with probably about a 3-inch slot on the horizontal plane back there. We have to find the slot and then just wiggle it into that slot, and then we can take the other end, the end closest to us, and put it back onto the gas jet, the brass jet off to our right. And now we can put the bracket back on too. So the bracket goes over the pin on the Venturi tube, on the burner tube, and we put in the two Phillips head screws. There we go. And now we're just going to get these wires to be pushed back in. It doesn't have to be perfect, just want to get them so they're not going to get pinched by the front panel when you put it back on. So we're going to plug the oven back in, and then we're going to turn on the thermostat and see how the ignition goes. Turning the oven on, turn off my little light, and we're going to see if those two igniters light up. They should ignite at about the same time. Usually takes about 30 seconds by the time you start it to when it lights. We can see them glowing. Fit these wires back in where they're supposed to go. So it gets brighter and brighter, and then eventually the gas will be let in. It'll light right away. few more seconds. There we go. All right, looks good. So both of them are fired up, nice and bright. We're going to put the bottom panel back on. I'm going to set it for 350 just to test it. So I put it over the bottom pivots, the bottom screws, hinge it up 90 degrees, and then I'm going to put on the Phillips head screws here at the top to hold it in. And we got it. So we got maybe another 4 or 5 years of use before we have igniter problem again. That's pretty good. So please subscribe when you get a chance. Thanks so much for watching. Here's the link again for that part, and pretty good deal for those igniters, about $34 and you'll be all done. So thanks again for watching, and hope that we can send you some more videos on how to repair the appliances in your home. Thanks again.